on my way to XP Fest. By the way, I probably should have mentioned this. Destiny USA, this place, trying to remember where exactly it is in New York, but holy crap, this mall is fucking huge. If you can look up Destiny USA, if you're watching this highlight, or if by some act of God this somehow winds up on YouTube, if you can find Destiny USA, check it out. Check it out at least once. It is nuts.
Well, if I know we are going to try to post this to YouTube, I will set up something to record it and put it on my channel.
I mean, anything and everything that you could ever possibly need. Well, maybe everything. I don't know. I did find I did see a lot of interesting things. Some things I already knew about. Some things I did not know about. Um, there was a go-kart racetrack on the third floor. There was an IMAX theater. There was a humongous food court. There was supposedly a research lab somewhere in the place. And the place I needed to go to at this mall, luckily it was just inside the door. Uh, some kind of a specialty shop. Hang on, I'm going to get the card for it. This will just take a second. Wasn't sure if it was in my wallet or not. Hang on. Okay, it's called the J Street Video Games, which you can actually access online at www.retrogamestore.com. Retrogamestore.com. They had everything retro that you could think of. I found my Sega Genesis audio video cable instantly, just walking inside the door.
Nice.
I was shocked. I didn't think they would have it. And they had more than just that. They had stuff for the NES. They had stuff for the Super NES. They had stuff for the N64. They had stuff for the Virtual Boy. They had things. They had. They had fucking everything. The Atari. There was an Atari section at this place with lots of games. And they even had a special section just for the sports games of various consoles, like the Genesis, Super NES, and stuff like that. Just all of the Madden games, all the baseball games, all the soccer games, all the hockey games. Everything was in one section, just to separate it from all the other games, because because I'm hesitant to even say the word, but fuck sports games, really. Fuck them in the ass.
It's a sports game. They come out every year because people like the sports.
Just because they like the sports. But they turn in the old sports game to get the new game. That's why there's like a huge influx of all these sports games. They're always coming back.
Well, because at the time, remember, once upon a time, people always wants the latest teams. Oh my God, this person doesn't have my team. I can't play this game. People hasn't realized nowadays you can just update a roster for a simple patch because we're so used to buying sports games every year. Of course, EA is not ever going to change the model because that's a cash cow for them.
My brother was the same way with the wrestling games. He originally had WCW versus NWO World Tour for the N64.
Oh, my best friend is like that now. He'll buy every wrestling game he can. Still buys every WWE game that comes out.
He traded it in just to get the Revenge version, which was the sequel, but it had different features. Like for example, the World Tour game, it had like a I'm trying to think of what did it have different? I know it had like a round robin option, but not necessarily a. I think it was a. I think it was a. Kind of like a one-on-one team battle mode where you have one guy face another guy, then you beat that guy and you face the next guy, and then you keep going until you're beat, and then your next guy takes over, and the same thing goes on until an entire team is wiped out.
I forgot what it's called, but yeah, me and my friend used to play that too. Like, get teams of 4 or 5 and just go through it like that.
And my brother, he would just fucking dominate me. He would always he would always pick Chris Benoit as his starter, and he would win with his first guy. I could never beat him because I could never get the timing down. I could never get the whole system down. And he would brag saying Benoit never broke a sweat. And maybe that's true to life. Benoit probably never did break a sweat. Ah, but yeah, everything you could imagine in was in this very store. They even had NES advantages for sale. That was kind of funny.
Now that's rare.
And just because I was feeling generous for Ishimo getting me all this way to New York and eventually to Connecticut, he was looking for a copy of Sonic and Knuckles, and I bought him a copy. I thought it was only fair. Two other things I noticed in this place. When I was walking past the big window to eventually round the corner and go in the door, I saw by the window a Revolution X coin op. Did you ever play Revolution X, Ty?
I've heard of it. I never had the chance to play it either on console or on what you call it.
Arcade.
Yeah.
I remember playing it first on on the Super NES, and they retained some of it, but if you can play it on the coin op, it's kind of insane. For those who don't know, Revolution X is essentially Terminator 2, the arcade game, but with Aerosmith. And the whole idea is that you're facing a new world order. Some dominatrix bitch has decided rock and roll is outlawed and Aerosmith must be put to death because evidently Aerosmith is rock and roll. They're like rock and roll gods in this game. So you have to track down all this shit that the new world order is doing, and eventually take down the dominatrix and her elite guards or some shit like that. Okay, that was one thing I noticed. The other thing I noticed, there was a Tekken 2 coin op in there as well, which is funny because, well, sitting underneath my bed is some of the bare essentials for a Tekken 2 coin op. I mentioned on Twitter that I have the PCB. I've got the JAMA cable. I've got the Edge connector. I'm look I'm looking to get a video encoder so I can get this thing hooked up to a big screen TV like the one above my head. The only reason I didn't bring it to XP Fest was because I did not have the encoder. I did not have an arcade panel to where two people could actually control the fighters. If I can get a hold of let's see, at least 12 buttons and 2 joysticks, I think I would be set.
Sounds like you actually need a couple of Street Fighter pads.
Not necessarily Street Fighter pads, although I think there are ways of wiring. I think there are ways of wiring Super NES pads to JAMA boards. I think I've read some documentation on that. I'm going to have to double check on this. But if I can somehow get the 6 buttons for each side, actually no, I don't think I need that many buttons. Now that I think about it, no, you just need the left and right punch, the left and right kick, and the start button. So that's actually 10 buttons. My mistake. But we just need the 10 buttons and the two sticks, and I have the power supply. A certain someone, I'm not going to say who it is, has been um, dragging their feet in getting me this power supply. But finally, it came in the mail about a month ago, I think. I still don't know for the life of me how I'm going to wire this thing, not only to the board, but also how to get it to plug into a wall. Um,
The
trying to
power of a miracle. That's probably how.
the power of friendship. um,
And we turned this video into My Little Ponyville.
anyway, uh, day three, we're finally getting back on track to day three. I was going to attempt at least I was going to attempt to beat my fourth game because I had finished three games already. I had finished Value Billy, I finished Batman for the NES, I finished Strider for the NES in record time.
Oh, congratulations on being Bayou Billy. From personal experience, that's a bitch to do.
It is a son of a bitch. I know that much.
Because, like I said I think I said this to you, unless you could go through the stage before the final without dying with the bulletproof vest and the bullwhip, it's a bitch to beat the final three bosses.
And something I didn't really notice about Mr. Big, not Mr. Big, Gordon, whoever the fuck the final boss is. Um, he has all of your moves. He does everything that you can do. I didn't really notice this because the last time I really played this, all he really did was just jump around and shoot at me, which was a joke because I already had the bulletproof vest from the last round. But yeah, Gordon can actually get up close and kick you using the same kick animation as Billy. He can also grab you and judo slam you.
I never got close enough from the Judo Slayer me because the times I didn't have the vest, I just tried jump kicking him to death. Yeah,
I
that gets a bullet in my leg every once in a while, but I usually win out at the end.
I'm kind of sad nobody was watching.
Hey,
If Master Wang had not walked by and seen the ending, nobody would have known that I just finished Value Billy. Yeah. But yeah, day three came around. I was trying to go 3 for 3 and finish one more difficult games, and I was just beat. Then I was mostly distracted.
I was about to say, going back to Bayou Billy for a second, Gordon's not that bad. Especially if you have the bullwhip and vest, he's a joke. It's his two successors that are nightmares.
The two bodyguards. Yeah. But yeah, Gordon's got guts to go in first. But yeah, I was going to attempt to finish. At first, I was going to attempt to finish Zelda 2, mostly because the other randoms, which was a mother and her son, who were both gamers. The son started playing Zelda 2 on the NES. I got next to him and started playing Zelda 2 on the Famicom, and eventually the kid gave up and started playing something else. I think it was another Zelda game. I could be wrong. The mother popped in Link to the Past, and she was having a little bit of fun with that, which was kind of funny. And I think also Hecka sat next to me and started playing Link to the Past as well. I think the mother got up and eventually Hecka took over. But yeah, she played Link to the Past for the first time, and she got as far as far as Kakariko Village to the town elder's house to where his wife gives you his location on the map to where you have to go next. And we just
I
spent.
didn't even know. I didn't even notice the mother and child. So yeah, advertising on XP Fest next year, a family affair.
I'm just surprised the mother didn't take her kid out just because there was a lot of swearing in the background.
Either she was cool enough, or at least reasonable enough to realize that most of the convention attendees are adults and some adult language will be used.
It was probably a mixture of both. But anyway, I could not finish Zelda 2. I died at the third palace. I was trying to jump over a pit and I lost my last life, which kind of sucked because I was attempting a one continue run. Actually, it wasn't even a continue. It was just one simple set of 3 lives. And the first time is always the most important because Zelda 2 on the Japanese Zelda 2 had a different leveling system than that of the NES game.
Also,
What happens is for the NES game, when you gather up enough XP to level up, you played Zelda 2, correct?
yeah, you gather enough XP, they could handpick your own level up, if you will.
Not really. You're kind of forced to take the first one that you come across unless you pass it up for the next level up. Like you're forced to either take a weapon power up or a life power up or a magic power up or a level up. I mean, but you could pass it up in lieu of the next one, but you would still have to eventually come level up again and uh, and get
Alright,
the
that must
next
have been
power
thinking
up.
something else. It's been way too long since I touched Zelda 2.
Zelda doo doo. But anyway, the Japanese version had a different leveling system. With the Japanese one, you could pick whatever one you wanted to level up. For example, if you wanted to very early on level up your attack power up to 8, you could. You could be OP right out the gate. You would be rather weak in your magic and your defense, but you
Right.
could do
Pretty
it.
much, you could pick to be a glass cannon from the start.
Pretty much. Um, the problem with this is if you lose all of your lives and you start your game again, all of your stats drop down to your lowest number. So, for example, if you had your weapons maxed out at 8, but you still had your life and your magic at 1, all of your stats would be reset back to 1, regardless of how much effort you put into the game.
Oh,
So
that
you
sucks.
would have to grind out the fucking ass just to get yourself back up to where you was. So that's why I was spending all that time doing. I was grinding in. At first it was the spot right outside Saria town where you get the life spell, where you cross that bridge. I was grinding out all the XP by fighting the boomerang fuckers. Once I gathered up enough experience, I went down to Death Mountain, got the hammer, and then started grinding some more with the blue ones. I made sure to get the stronger ones because it was the only way I could get the boomerang fuckers because they gave out the most XP. Um, After a while, I had grinded up to an attack power of 8 as well as magic and health of 6. I did not get past the third palace. I fell into a lava pit and lost my last life, and I was very sad for about 10.7 seconds. Where I eventually popped in pro wrestling and tried to finish that instead. I got as far as the Great Puma. I got my ass kicked by the Great Puma. I was sad again. And I think that was my last game. Because at that point, things weren't exactly wrapping up, but we had to get the fuck out. Ishimo and I had to get the fuck out by 6 o'clock, so 4 o'clock was breakdown time for us, for me, and I guess him as well. We had to get our stuff packed up and set up and ready to go. And Eastermo just kept telling me to sit down and relax because because supposedly it wasn't that big of a deal. I guess I don't know. So I just got on my laptop in the lobby and started checking out the chat rooms, check out the Twitter, see what the hell was going on. Hecka came and joined me, and we chatted for a long time. And eh, it was a good time. We talked for a while, which was cool. Um, do you know?
Well, I guess after you left, Jason eventually left, said his goodbyes. We watched Money in the Bank with Matthew, which was a fun experience.
Oh, that's right. There was a pay per view last night. And then after that, everybody started leaving to go home.
Yeah, and this is where my second disappointment came in. Unfortunately, I lost the game during XP Fest.
Ugh, which one?
Dragon's Crown.
You lost Dragon. Oh my god, I'm sorry, man.
No problem. It's less anger than disappointment because the game's not exactly hard to find, nor uber expensive now. It's one of those. Really? Someone really had to take this?
Oh god, I'm hoping they realize they fucked up and send it back to you. I'm hoping it wasn't intentional.
I'm hoping so too.
And I'm kind of just as guilty as this. I almost walked off with a power cable that wasn't mine. Hell, I almost walked out with one of Rob's Xbox controllers. I didn't, at least until I realized that that Rob's was green. So we got that
Yeah,
fixed out.
I had masking cape, so I meant to identify what was mine, what wasn't. But after looking around the room, it's like, it'll be easy to see what's mine.
Yeah,
This shouldn't be a problem.
that's where I started to kick myself because I did not label any of my controllers.
No, because I knew I was the only person who brought PS3 anything, so the PS3 game should be easy to identify. Most
If
of the PS2 games were easy to identify since, at least until day 3, no,
if
no
you
one had one hooked up.
if you're watching my stream right now, you'll see me pointing in a certain direction, like it's to the lower right of my camera feed. I am pointing right at the storage tub itself. I have yet to go through it. I still have to find out if anything's missing from there. So I don't know if I'm missing any hardware. I do know that all the games are intact. They're back up on the wall. And I actually was able to organize it a little bit better, which is nice. But yeah, all the games are accounted for, which is good.
Right, everything else is accounted for. Games, controllers, systems.
I know that the systems are accounted for, but I don't know about the controllers and the overall cables. Because I know I didn't take all of them up. I'm hoping that I got my power strip back. I still have to look around for that. I'm going to have to spend most of tomorrow looking through everything that was in the box and just double checking to make sure everything's in there before I put the box back into storage. I'm going to label it just to make sure that I know where to look when I go dig it out next year. And I've been hearing things about that there will be an XP Fest next year, which is good. I'm just hoping that it's
So
closer.
far, so far, the target date is August of 2016.
But we haven't set an ideal location yet.
No, we just got the date, like essentially just as Jason was leaving. So everything else is still in planning.
I hope it's closer the second time around because there's a possibility that I might not be able to make it next year.
I'm a little glad that the date was pushed back, or else I probably have a very difficult time making next year because my girlfriend wants to go on a cruise, and it was scheduled to be in April. So going on a $4,000 cruise, then pulling out another $1,000 for hotel rooms and fees for XP Fest might have been a little troubling, like near impossible.
Mm. But yeah,
But yeah, the right.
the ride back was the ride back was definitely a it was a tiring experience. We had to get back to Eastmost first, spend the night, and then start on the long ass trek back to West Virginia, which we're at now. Um, Eastmo might bring it up in the chat when he gets home, but I'll go ahead and say it now. There was a huge problem with his car when we were in the final stretch to get to his place. Something is wrong with his steering. Something failed. Yeah, we're not quite sure what exactly is going on. We just know that it's not the brake fluid, or not the steering fluid, power steering fluid. That is, it's definitely something else. But what was really bad was that at the time, it was raining pretty fucking hard. So
Oh,
on
what time did you leave out? Because
we
it was
left at
raining when we left.
we left at 6 p.m.
Oh, must guess it must have rained straight through then.
Yeah, remember I gave everyone that's in the circle that big ass hug and almost lifted Chef off the ground. That's what I was trying to do anyway. But yeah, that's when I was giving everybody a hug and I shut my computer down and we left and that was that.
So overall, XP Fest, yay, nay, improvements, fixes. Because
Well,
nothing's ever perfect. If you truly want to improve, you always gotta look for those little things that went wrong and try to fix them.
yeah, I would say it's definitely an improvement over my time over at VGFF. But that was only because I missed the first 2 days. Um,
Well,
XP.
this was an
Go ahead.
improvement
Go
over
ahead.
VGFF. It did seem bigger in scale, but at the same time, at least now we know like the middle ground now. VGFF we went too low. XP Fest we went too high. Now we know where the middle is.
Now we can start looking for middle ground and focus on that. Because we, unless if we can get more LKM people to commit to the event, there's no sense in having a huge ass ballroom like that. It was nice, but it wasn't necessary. Also, I kind of regret setting up that camera for to hopefully to get testimonials like I enjoyed XP Fest because of this and that, and yeah, I got a little bit of feedback about that, and it just seemed a little too reality show. Um, yeah, so I apologize for setting the camera up.
I didn't even know that's what you say the camera up for. I thought you just say just record chaos.
Core Chaos, what's that?
No, I mean just the event itself as a constant stream.
Eh, that was the initial idea to record, but I didn't have enough film.
Uh, and the only two things I actually recorded were the two jungle speed sessions.
Now, I did have it in the corner for about maybe 2 hours. I could be wrong. I need to go back and look at the footage. Um, and I know that Twisted Puppet took the camera off the thing and went around and shot various people with it, and then put it back on the tripod. But other than that, not a whole lot went on with that camera, and I'm kind of sad about that. Peddler of Madness reality show. What? How? I had a camera set up next to a wall, in front of a chair to where people could sit down and talk about their experiences with XP Fest, what they like, what they didn't like about it, that kind of thing. And I don't know if anybody got in front of it. I just know that from what I saw, nobody sat in front of it. And, uh, and I think the overall reason was people were just too busy having a good time, and maybe maybe the camera setup just seemed a little too reality show kind of thing, where everybody gives little interviews at the drop of a hat.
I just didn't know that was the purpose. I thought it was just mass recording.
Well, I told Rob, Link's Ocarina, I told Chef, I told Patrick, Cold Guy. I think I also told Lord Cat, and I don't think it mattered. Mostly because everybody was too busy having fun doing other things, which that's a good problem. It's still a
Well,
problem, but it's a good problem.
it's the overall point that everybody come out and have a good time. So yeah, it didn't serve the overall purpose, but there was a reason for that.
Maybe if someone can walk around the camera, yes, I agree, Peddler of Madness. If someone could walk around with the camera, but that's another person who isn't having all that fun. Um,
Because now someone has to be a cameraman for 3 days.
and honestly, who the fuck wants to be that? If you're going to be surrounded by video games, would you rather be playing the video games?
Like video games and board games and a bunch of people wanted to play them. You'd rather be playing them.
Tabletop games, board games, D&D, uh, you all know Jack, Fibbage. Yeah. By the way, there's a reason I didn't join Fibbage earlier because, well, not Fibbage. There was one called Drawful in the Jackbox pack. The first time
Yeah, I see it.
the first time I played Drawful, it was in the gay bathhouse with Mad Laldongs, Nini Raven, and the like. I thought it was kind of funny that everybody was drawing penises, vaginas, and tits as their avatars. I thought that was funny. The problem, though, was that right behind me was my niece playing Minecraft on the big TV right up there. I'm just thanking the good Lord above that she did not look down. Otherwise, you and me would not be having this conversation.
I'm like, what happened to Reese? Yeah, we don't see him anymore.
I was just so nervous about playing Drawful after that, so yeah. It's a fun game, I'm just scared to death of playing it again. Now, Fibbage, that was a fun game. I liked it. I just never got around to playing it again. Plus, it didn't help that I did not have a smartphone. This is a game that was built for Facebook. It was built for smartphones. I don't have a smartphone, so it doesn't help me in the slightest. Twisted and I attempted to play this with our 3DSs, but it runs on Opera, and Opera doesn't handle Flash, so we're kind of fucked in that department. So Twisted got to use her phone. That's nice. She got to play. I don't have a smartphone. I have a Motorola Razr phone.
I had the cheap advantage, but I never took advantage of it because I now have a smartphone, a freaking Note 4, so I had a pen to draw with. But I never got a chance to sit down and play. Also, say I never got a chance to play D&D, but
Uh,
I don't have a D&D character yet, so I gotta
okay.
eventually break that cherry one of these days.
Okay, can you humor me for a second? What exactly does it take to make a D&D character other than assigning stats?
I guess assigning stats with forever. That itself takes about an hour and change.
I mean, do you really have to come up with a backstory and immerse yourself in your own character before you can take this character out for a spin?
You seen me play Red Dragon, then I could be a handy ass actor real quick. But backstory, not really.
Okay, because I don't know. I did play one D&D session on Skype a long time ago during the that guy with the glasses days on NewNet. Um, I was in a group that occasionally Cold Guy would be in, but he wasn't in for this session. Just a bunch of people that was in the Spine Breakers chat. Um, we played what was essentially a broken D&D session where we would roll and we would do crazy ass things to try and solve a scenario. And I came up with a fart wizard. I came up with my own class. A fart wizard who had a special magic spell that pretty much did insane things. It was called Reese's Pieces. It would do either of two things. It would either A, make it rain shit, or B, make it rain delicious Reese's Pieces candies. Yes.
I okay.
That was my first and only time I ever played D&D.
Well, from a
And
lot of things I noticed on D&D, you have two types of players. You have the uber serious player that takes this so seriously, and you have the players that want to lay back, relax, and just have a fun time on a fantasy adventure with a bunch of friends.
I cast a spell. I cast a spell. uh, yeah, I was just never into immersing myself. I don't know if I'm just too laid back or just too unimaginative or what, but I can't do it. I've tried. I've failed miserably. So yeah, it took us 2 days to get to and 2 days to get back from XP Fest. And I would love to do this again if it's possible. I'm I'm just hoping that I'm just hoping that somebody has enough gumption to want to come to West Virginia and pick me up, and enough gumption to want to carry all of that hardware, because that was almost a deal breaker. Ishtamo just barely had enough room in the back seat of the car for the storage tub and the suitcase, and he barely had enough room for for the Tandy equipment in the back, in the trunk, that is. I'm surprised we even fit everything in there to where I could go, at least with all the stuff I was bringing. Now, something I'm going to have to ask Jason about when I get the chance is if he's still interested in doing the roadshow aspect of XP Fest. Obviously, it would still be a convention, like a static connect convention in one place. But would he still be interested in taking it on the road? And if he does take it on the road, I would like to ask if he could try hosting one in West Virginia in like a small venue or something. Just so I won't have to travel so far just to see him and a few other chat room members again.
Well, the roadshow could still be a good idea because they'll promote for the main, they'll promote for the big thing next year.
Also, if in any, I would just like to take a group of the LKM with me to a famous West Virginia tourist attraction called the Mystery Hole.
Sounds like something that should involve the red light district, if you know what I mean.
Deep in the forest of the Midland Trail, which is Route
Okay.
60.
That doesn't help my description much, but go ahead.
Deep in the forest alongside the cliffside, there is an abandoned bunker. A bunker which an entrepreneur has taken and repurposed it as a mystery house. A mystery house of oddities. Woo! It is kind of nuts. There is a there's a floor that makes you really really dizzy to walk on. Uh, there's a room with a that's got a it's that kind of ball where you roll it where you can roll up a ramp, up a really steep ramp.
uh,
It's a kind of a live optical illusion. It's essentially a magic act. There's a lot of crazy shit that goes on in there, and of course there's souvenirs and a gift shop and shit like that. You have to check it out at least once. But yeah, it's all inside of a outside of a hollowed bunker in a side in like a cliffside that's alongside the main highway, which uh, which goes along these really really scary winding cliffs, cliff roads and shit like that. You know, if I can, you know what? Let me open up Google Maps because I know I can find this instantly. I know exactly where the fuck this place is. Uh, Hang on. Google. Uh, let's see. I think it's maps.google.com, isn't it? Yes, Google Maps. I'm gonna highlight this place on the map and show it to the stream. Yeah, this may take a short bit. Okay, there's Route 60, and eventually there's a place called Gully Bridge. I think that's what it's called, where eventually the where eventually the path it just takes this weird ass series of twists and turns, and you're going alongside a cliffside, and you're like high above the Canal River, which is at this point no longer it's no longer the Canal River. It's become something else. But shit, I want to say I've almost found it because I found the series of winding roads alongside the cliffside. Okay, there's a Five Brats Bakery, a little general store, Cathedral Falls. Let me go ahead and bring it up on the main stream here. Uh, I want to say it's this little general store, but I don't think that's it. It can't be it, can it? No, it was alongside a turn of some kind. Yeah, that much I remember. And I can't remember if it was. I can't remember if it was along the Hawks Nest State Park or what. There's a Hawks Nest Country Club, a golf course, Chimney Corner, Big Creek, Ghost Breeze Church. Uh, I swear to God, I'm gonna find this because I know it's on the map here somewhere. Um, it actually is on Google Maps. I didn't think of actually searching for it, but yeah, here it is, right here. Yeah, it's alongside Route 60, just before Hawks Nest State Park. Wait a minute, that's no, it's before the Hawks Nest Overlook, picnic shelter and gift shop. But yeah, there is no way in hell that you can miss it when you pass by it. Let's go to the Earth part and go to the mystery hole. Is it possible to go to Street View here? Yeah, come on, let's go to Street View. Holy shit, there it is. Yes, this is the mystery hole. If you're looking on the stream, there it is in all its glory. It looks like something a hippie would come up with, doesn't it?
You're giving modern day hippies too much credit.
So there's a beetle into the wall. Okay.
Yeah. It's just one of those things you have to see it to believe it. It is that nuts. And here's another picture of the front. Oh, and there's one of the beetle. Yeah, this is one of those things you take an entire group of people to check out. It is. It's a party affair. But most importantly, we need to get Jason here just to check this place out.
That would probably be the live episode of what?
Yeah, if we can either get Jason here or if we can get somebody to take a camera to go through the mystery hole, um, that would be the day. And for some reason, there's a Burger King next to all the pictures. That's not a Burger King, not in the slightest. No trespassing after business hours. What is the business hours? Do you guys live there? What the fuck?
Hey, some people do live where they work, literally.
See, now I'm tempted. I'm now tempted to go on YouTube and see if someone actually took a camera through the mystery hole. To the YouTubes. This will be the last thing I do tonight because I do have to eventually get to bed. Mystery hole.
Oh god, it's already 3 a.m.
Yeah, it
Oh, whatever's the time where you are. West Virginia.
it is 3:22 a.m.
Oh,
it's
start time. Okay.
yeah, it's pretty fucking late. Reviews. I can't wait to go this summer with my college friends on our road trip. The gift shop is full of silly tricks. Even the stuff for sale in the gift shop is about as old school quiche. Okay. But yeah, it's one of the three major landmarks for West Virginia. There's of course the famous New River Gorge, which everybody just goes there to go bungee jumping or skydiving because it's such a high bridge. It it it's an insanely high bridge. And then there's the Mystery Hole, and there's also the fucking Mothman urban legend, which eventually got made into a movie. I think it was also an X Files episode where people just fucking swear they see they see a weird ass Mothman hybrid. I don't get it either. Okay, can I take this thing to YouTube? Did somebody take a camera in the Mystery Hole? You know what? I don't think anybody took a tour of the Mystery Hole,
Then you could be the first, if it's possible.
if it is possible, because I have a feeling that that they want to make money, so I doubt they're going to let cameras in there. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I need to get to bed, and I thank you all for tuning in to hear me and Ty ramble about XP Fest. Um, Also, for those of you in the chat who did go to XP Fest, uh, thank you for letting such a boring ass guy hang out with you. I'm just some weirdo who collects a lot of games. You guys are the cool people. I'm just glad I got to hang out with you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the stream for now, and I will see you all tomorrow in the chat. I will see you all there, and have a good night.